Three, two. All right. All right. What's good, Anthony? The
Hi.
others couldn't make it today, but I'm gonna just keep going. I want to thank you for joining me today. My name is
Mhm.
Romy, and for my philosophical community service project, I will guide you through a critical and logical discussion about a moral issue: why racial justice requires ending war on drugs. The project is about using logical reasoning to talk about real world moral problems. Specifically, I'll model how we could form logically valid arguments, check if they are sound, and then evaluate opposing views and arguments from my audience. We'll be discussing how the war on drugs disproportionately harms racialized communities and whether that makes it unjust. This topic is inspired by an article by Brian D. Work, Jonathan Lewis, Carl L. Hart, and Walter Veit, published in the American Journal of Bioethics, where they call for the discriminalization of all recreational drugs based on evidence and ethical reasoning. So, what are arguments and how do we evaluate them? Let's define what we're doing. An argument is a set of statements where premises support a conclusion. A logically valid argument is one where if the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. We often use the structure A is an X, all X's are Y, therefore A is a Y. Or A is an X, if something is X, then it is a Y, therefore A is a Y. A sound argument is a valid and has all true premises. A bad argument might be invalid, have false premises, or beg the question, which assumes the conclusion in the premises. So here are my five logically valid arguments. Argument one: the war on drugs is racist in impact. If a law unfairly hurts one race more than others without a good reason, it's racist. The war on drugs hurts black and brown people more than others with no good reason. So the war on drugs is racist. All right, I'm going to explain the validity. The structure is conditional. If A, then B. A is true, so B is true. The conclusion logically follows the form, so it's valid. Research and statistics, I'm explaining the soundness right now. Research and statistics show that Black and Brown communities are punished more harshly for drug offenses, even though usage rates are similar across races. That means both premises are true, making it sound. So here's my second argument. Racially unjust policies should be ended. Racist laws should be ended. The war on drugs is a racist law. So the war on drugs should be ended. The validity, this is a syllogism. All A should be ended. B is A. So B should be ended. The logic holds, so it's valid. Soundness. Most people agree that racist policies should end. Uh, that's premise one. And we've shown that the war on drugs is racist. That's premise two. So since both premises are true, it's sound. Argument three, the war on drugs leads to mass incarceration. Premise one, if a law puts lots of non-violent people in jail, it does more harm than good. Premise two, the war on drugs locks up lots of non-violent people. Conclusion. So the war on drugs does more harm than good. The validity, this is another conditional argument. It follows if X leads to harm, then and X happens, then harm follows. The conclusion logically follows, so it's valid. Soundness, data from sources like the Sentencing Project confirm that the war on drugs has led to high incarceration rates for nonviolent offenses, mostly for drug possession. So both premises are true, making it sound. Argument four: harmful and unjust policy should be repeated. Premise one: if a law is harmful and unfair, it should be repeated. Premise two: the war on drugs is harmful and unfair. Conclusion: um, so the war on drugs should be repealed. The validity, this is a logical if-then structure. If something is bad, get rid of it. This thing is bad, so get rid of it. The reasoning is valid, so that makes it valid. Soundness. The war on drugs has caused harm and is unfair. These points are backed by real-world evidence, so the argument is sound. And here's my last and final argument. Drug use should be treated as a health issue, not a crime. Premise one, if something is a health problem, it should be treated like a crime. Premise two, drug use is a health problem. Conclusion, so drug use shouldn't be treated like a crime. Validity. Uh, I'm going to explain the validity. This follows a simple logical form. If A, then B, A is true, so B is true. That makes it logically valid. Soundness. Health experts like the World Health Organization and the American Medical Association agree that drug addiction is a medical issue. Since both premises are true, the argument is sound. Now, my friend Anthony, uh, could you come up with at least three arguments, uh, about drugs and all of that?
Like just on the um if people break the law, they should be punished.
Mhm. What's
If a
the?
person
Are you gonna explain premise one?
oh
Oh yeah, you got it. You got it. You got it.
do I just
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
okay. If a person breaks the law, then they should be punished.
Uh-huh.
Using oh, that's person one, and person two is using illegal drugs is breaking the law.
Hmm.
So therefore the conclusion, therefore, people who use illegal drugs should be punished.
Is it
Uh,
valid?
mm,
Do you think it's valid?
no, no, because laws are segregation of anti what is anti-miscegenation that are unjust. Punishment should be morally justified just because the law exists.
Now, that kind of sounds like that it's not uh that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not valid. I think that's more of a soundness.
Oh, I see.
You see? You see?
Um, yeah, I'm
So I
sorry.
would
I'm just,
say it's valid because it's like a classic modus ponens.
uh, oh,
Uh
okay.
yeah, so
Continue.
like modus ponens is a valid reasoning argument form where if a conditional statement is true and it's and a extended is also true, then the consequent is also true.
Okay, okay.
So you
So
understand?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
the argument is valid, but it's not sound. You got another argument? Uh,
Um, ending the war on drugs will increase drug use.
mhm.
Uh, and person one, if we end the war on drugs, then drug use will increase. And then person two, if drug use increases, then society will suffer more harm. Therefore, ending the war on drugs will harm society. If we end the war on drugs, then if we end the war on drug use, then drugs will increase. If drug use increases, then society will suffer more. Um, no, it's not valid.
Why is it not valid?
Uh, well, because if the war on drugs, it wouldn't harm society since we'll be stopping something that is increasing the drug uses on people.
Hmm. I'd say it's not sound. Now
Oh,
you understand? I think you're getting it like mixed up.
I am. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
trying to make
So
the.
it's not sound. It's not sound.
Would I
But
have
you
to
you
choose?
got you're in the right direction. It's just not sound.
Would I have to choose between it being valid or sound, or are those
Because
two
valid is just,
saying
uh
yes and no?
yeah. Valid is, whether or not the argument is, logically valid. Like it follows a logical form,
Uh-huh.
but it's not sound. Therefore, it's not it it, it can get confusing. I understand.
No, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
we could go on, try to make another argument.
okay, personal responsibility matters more than race.
Hmm.
Person one, if people choose to use drugs, they are responsible for the consequences. Person two, if people of all races chooses to use drugs. So therefore, drug consequences are about individual choices, not race.
Um,
Uh,
do you think it's valid?
yes, but it's not.
Correct. Now, why is it valid?
Uh, drugs are individual choices, not race. Um, because it's an individual choice. It's up to one person to go ahead and choose it. To do it is not specific to like a community or a race. Like it's not like something destined for them to do it. It's overall everyone that has a decision in doing the drugs.
Um, Again, the reason why it's valid is because it follows a logical structure where the conclusion flows directly from the premises. Here, if the first premise is true, which is that individuals are responsible for the consequences of their actions, and the second premise is true, that people from all races choose to use drugs, then it logically follows that the consequences of drug use are about individual responsibility, not race. So the argument follows a logical pattern. So if A and B happens, then C happens. So that's why, these arguments are valid because they follow
Okay.
a logical structure. It doesn't mean that it's sound necessarily,
Uh-huh.
but it follows a logical structure.
Okay. That stick to my brain now even more.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh
So
okay.
is it sound?
No.
Correct. Because you just explained why it isn't sound.
Hmm.
Um, it's just that you just got it mixed up. That's it.
Yeah, okay, okay.
But thank you. This is in conclusion, we reviewed what makes an argument valid or sound. I presented five logically valid and sound arguments against the war on drugs. And we evaluated three arguments from, the audience, testing the validity and changing unsound premises. We concluded that the war on drugs is racially unjust, harmful, and ethically indefensible. So here are my final thoughts. If we care about racial injustice, truth, and fairness, we must end the war on drugs and replace it with compassionate, evidence-based policies that treat substance use as a health issue, not a crime. I want to thank Anthony for being my audience member today. Um, and thank you all for tuning in. All right.